to give the latest on the FOMC meeting minutes. Brian, why don't you break it down for us?
Well, Julia, the big headlines from that June FOMC meeting, which took place June 10th, where the Fed did hold rates steady. The Federal Reserve did commit to what they call highly accommodative monetary policy. They said that was needed to support a recovery for a second quarter that the minutes said would likely show the largest decline in economic activity in post-World War II history. On the other side of the coin, the FOMC did see financial conditions improve between the period between its previous FOMC meeting in April and that June 10 meeting. They also pointed to that May jobs report, which, as you recall, had the surprise of job gains during that month. The FOMC said that the proportion of laid off workers who expected to be recalled was much larger than they had expected. But even though they said it could have indeed be the case that April showed to be the, quote, trough of the recession, participants said, based on the minutes, that it was too early to draw any conclusions. A number of participants on the FOMC did express worry about the epidemiological path of the virus. A number of them saying that there was a substantial likelihood, was the quote, of additional waves of outbreaks, which in some scenarios could result in further economic disruptions. Shifting gears to quantitative easing, again, their asset purchases of mortgage-backed securities and also U.S. Treasuries. The FOMC minutes did note that they wanted to increase the current pace to, quote, sustain smooth market functioning, end quote. That was something we had heard from Fed Chairman Jerome Powell in that press conference. And then lastly, something if you're watching fixed income very closely, as your discussion was just touching on, yield curve control. This would be further Fed intervention in the medium-term market for U.S. Treasuries. A couple of participants, after receiving a briefing on the idea of capping medium-term, perhaps 3 or 5 year U.S. Treasuries, remarked that it could be, quote, a powerful commitment device for the committee, end quote, but did say it needed further studying, which means the Fed could be getting a little closer to enacting such a policy. But again, a number of Fed officials still saying they need to study the issue a little bit more. So not a done deal. But again, the big headlines out of the FOMC minutes, highly accommodated monetary policy and an expectation for some pretty shocking second quarter numbers. Julia?
Brian, thank you so much for that breakdown.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.